Makes us. Hello again, Joriz, and welcome back for a second day.
Yeah.
Obviously, disappointed in the news that the appeals court have affirmed. Now, let me get this right. They've affirmed Judge Sukowicz's previous denials, but have said that your Thomas Sawinski situation, you need to present a new 97406. Have I got that right?
I think you got that right. Yeah, it's a bit.
Yeah.
I'm not through it,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
the bullet points are there. So
Sure. And we had the treat from Kathleen Zellner recently, 16:05, 40 minutes ago. She wrote, "Not deterred by the appellate court decision. It pointed out the specific doors that are still open for Steve's quest for freedom, and we appreciate the careful review." If initial thoughts.
very gentle. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
There, but I guess that's a very professional way of saying that.
Yes. Yeah. I want to get into some more specifics, but could it be that, as we've mentioned before, this case is such a big case? It's so high profile. I mean, Making a Murderer the documentary is even mentioned by the judges, and we're led to believe that, that the judges are not at all interested in the documentary, wouldn't have watched the documentary, all this sort of stuff. There's a little acknowledgement there to the fact that this is a big case. Maybe it's a bit too big for these that are still fairly local judges.
Yeah, I think it gets rather politics and justice gets like intermingled in these kinds of cases, these big ones.
Yeah,
but yeah, they have to have their independence from all of this. To get true justice, not the justice wanted by some parties.
Yeah. I also got the sense that they somewhat are kind of washing their hands of it and sort of hiding behind Judge Sukowicz's previous denials.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the reasoning is also very double standards also, because the way they try to put the burden of proof on, Stephen has to prove every single detail of the what, when, and how, and when, and why.
Yeah.
But when they present the case themselves, it's all just a fantasy story in makeup. They jump to conclusions here and there, and they can leave out details if they want to.
Yeah, I thought it was a bit bizarre that they talk about the fact that basically. Again, paraphrasing, would I be right in saying that they've said that, well, Kathleen, you've had experts that have said this, but that doesn't necessarily conclude in that being the outcome, or that is what that leads to. And on one occasion, they actually quote the fact that the blood spatter expert had said that, that Teresa Halbach had been hit by a mallet or some sort of blunt object at the back of the RAV4, and that is what has caused the blood spatter. And yet they say that Stephen Avery, or his counsel, failed to show that couldn't have been Stephen Avery that did it.
Yeah, well, that's their reasoning is Stephen has to prove that in every detail. But I was always led to believe that Stephen would only have to create, that there's reasonable doubt about how it happened. So why are they just trying to put that every detail on it? I just don't understand. So
yeah, I mean it's almost again as if the judges here are trying to act as if they're the attorneys. But I mean, at the original trial, there was never any mention of being attacked at the back door. The state presented at trial that this blood spatter at the back of the RAV4 was because of Teresa's body being thrown into the back of the RAV4, when Kathleen has proven that is completely false. And for the judges to actually then say that well, you failed to show that it couldn't have been Steve that did it. But hold on a sec, judges, you're now creating a whole new scenario which was not what Stephen was convicted on.
No, exactly. That goes for every single Brady violation if you look into it. The bones are also one, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
I really don't know about that one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Again, there was again a line that says that, you know, you haven't proved that it couldn't have been Stephen Avery that you know, cremated you know, Teresa in his own burn barrel, and then dumped the bones on the burn pit, and you know, and you know, what was given back was originally decided as being possibly human, but then, you know, or being human, and then on further investigation only being possible human. Yeah, there was a lot of vagueness in I thought, in the Court of Appeals decision. But would it be fair to say that, you know, really what Kathleen Zellner needs to do now is to really pin this down? You know, it's almost as if, you know, she's written an essay. They've said it's not quite good enough to get a retrial, but, you know,
cross some eyes, some dots and eyes. Yeah, that's the way
you know.
I read
show us, you know, show us stuff that we can then, you know, they use the word equivocal quite a bit, don't they?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so I really don't know.
A good example.
Yeah,
I've got a good example of the flyover CD. Just that's the first point that she get out. That there's they did kind of deny the existence of the second version of it. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, we have emails that probably the Court of Appeals have never read that show, and Rookie just posted it on Twitter. Mm-hmm. And in fact, there is a CD that shows that, you know, that there's an 8mm tape that was edited into another version that was shared. So,
yeah, yes. I mean, again, it's a little bit like this cognitive dissonance, won't they? You know, you'll get the guilters that will come up with some sort of ridiculous idea as to how that happened. I mean, they mention about the you know, the bullet not having bone fragment in it. They don't mention at all, but how the hell did wood get in it when it's lying on the garage floor?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's like they've chosen to take certain bits of it. You know, but maybe it is a case of, you know, this was the first. You know, this was a motion that was considered, and it didn't go in Kathleen Zellner's favour. But she's the sort of woman that, I don't know, has she had a case in Wisconsin before? I don't know that she's actually had a case in Wisconsin before. And, you know, one can imagine that these judges in Wisconsin, they don't like an attorney from outside of Wisconsin coming in and trying to tell them, you know, how to do their job. So that, you know, they're just going to say, you know, you need to be a bit more specific and unequivocal about certain things, and just to demonstrate how what you've said there leads to that, so that leads to that, so that leads to that, and, you know, it's definite framing. I don't know. I don't know if they're just washing their hands of it because it's such a big case, or whether they're saying, you know, for the time being, we just have to be cautious, exercise caution, and you know, you need to come to us with something that we can then, you know, sort of present to the guilters and say, you know, you have no chance of arguing your way out of this. You know, you've ran out of stories as to why this happened. But I also wonder if it means that Kathleen Zellner, as well as, you know, pursuing the Thomas Sawinski situation, will also redouble her efforts to find out who the real perpetrator is, because that would, you know, at the moment she's kind of really just trying to show that it wasn't Steve, which you know, she says, you know, in most cases that's all you need to do is just show that, you know, it couldn't have been Stephen Avery and Brendan that did it.
Of course,
but in such a high profile case, maybe you need to go that step further. But if you actually nail down who the actual killer was, then I think you're going to get a pretty different response, aren't you? You know.
That would be that would be a definite blow if you found
Yeah,
evidence on that part. But creating more reasonable doubt and actually, putting more weight on those Brady's for some reason somehow. But then again, I still find it, if you take away all the legal lingo, it's just the double standards of it. I don't understand how that is justice.
to me, it seems as if at the moment, as I say, the Court of Appeals are pampering not to us that want to see justice done, but to the guilties that simply want this done and dusted and forgotten about.
Yeah,
And that's because there will be people within the legal system that want that to happen. There's people going right at the food chain that would much prefer this whole thing to go away, and that they really are pretty alarmed at what the consequences are going to be once Stephen Avery is exonerated.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of things can happen because there's such corruption. If corruption is going on in the state, that this will be the first one to open up a lot of doors.
Exactly. So, when did you actually first get a chance to read it? Have you managed to read it all the way through?
Yeah, I was actually when it got out, I was refreshing.
Yeah.
Putting the refresh, but I was over at the Foul Play channel, and they got in. They started reading it out live, so I just kind of listened in, and
I've read it all the way through. I was actually watching a bit of Making a Murder at the time, and I got this notification from Jerome, who posted the link for me. So many thanks to Jerome.
Yeah,
it seemed to be just after 9 o'clock when I got notification, so it was very, very quick.
Did you?
Yeah, 9 o'clock Wisconsin time.
Oh yeah.
No, hold on a sec. No.
Yeah, 9 o'clock.
Not 9 o'clock Wisconsin time. I must have read it just before 10 o'clock Wisconsin time. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Difficult to think about what, as I say, what the next step is. But presumably, this Thomas Sawinski thing is something that they're going to pursue as a separate motion. Yeah. I don't know if they're able to continue presenting all the other stuff that's been presented if it's been denied by Sukrich and affirmed by the appeal court.
Yeah, I don't know how that works, to be honest. If there's no evidence coming out supporting a Brady violation, then it's even more, So,
as I say, to me, it did seem very much as if it was pampering towards the guilters and the fact that they just want this whole situation. They just want us to go away. And it ain't going to happen. It's not. It's definitely not going to happen.
No, it's not. I mean, I'm very curious to see what other people are going to write in the coming days, because this is really fresh. Everybody's like a single read on it. Because I always see that people that take some more time and then go into it, you get some good analysis of it.
Absolutely, I think we're going to get comment from likes of Jerry Buting. I'm sure he'll comment on it. And one wonders if he'll be as you described it as a very professional way of Kathleen Zellner saying that we're not deterred, pointed out specific doors that are still open. We appreciate the careful review. One would hope that there will be a time in the future when she can actually look back and quote this appeals court decision and say that even the appeals court are getting it wrong. Because as I say, they haven't addressed, as far as I can see, any of the actual issues. That they've simply said that you've got to show that A leads to B leads to C leads to D, and there's a little gap in there.
Yeah, and you need to fill that little gap, otherwise you haven't proven your point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's any justification for them, for them saying that, other than, as I've said already, I think they're just pampering to the guilters. I think it's such a big, a big issue.
Yeah,
would that be your take on it?
Yeah, to pampering the guilters. Yeah, they're in. I think they're all in one club together.
Yeah.
And they try to stretch this, and maybe they try to protect, like, even if this is the law they are practicing, and we're all wrong, and she needs to provide more info, which I still think is ridiculous because of the double standards of it. Then that's the law,
Yeah.
But
and from a personal point of view, upset at the decision. Part of us, I suppose, were always aware of the fact that this is still only the Court of Appeals. They seem to have tried to be fair in the past with remanding the case back twice.
Yeah.
But
to be honest, I was kind of expecting this whole procedural bar thing for partly, like 40% or something, and the evidentiary hearing might be a bit bigger, but got disappointed in this one. I guess we all are, but we need to put this energy to good use and find the loopholes.
Yeah, as I say, for me, I'm sure that Kathleen Zellner and her investigators are, as she said before, even going up to trial, she's still developing new evidence in cases that she's working on, and I'm sure that she will keep knocking on the door. But as I say, I think what they're saying is that yes, we appreciate the careful review. Pointed out the specific doors that are still open for Mr. Avery's quest for freedom. So I would take that as being that she is now ready to go to Angela Sukowicz with the Thomas Lewinsky situation.
Yeah, I pointed it out in the last paragraph in the conclusion what her options still are, and also just kind of like, if these things meet the procedural bar or I don't know what the name of the test was. It was a test name. If it meets the standards, then you can come back. Something like that.
Was it something like Escobar Naranjo or something like that?
Yeah, Escalana Naranjo.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, yeah.
Very Spanish.
Yes. I saw that quite a lot, didn't we? And yeah, if it is a case of she just needs to tweak her wording in order to, get the, or dare I say it, to really spell it out in words of less than one syllable to these judges. I mean, do you give them any credit for the fact that they're saying that there were these sort of jumps to conclusions that couldn't be made? For me, I think that's just hiding behind the law and saying, well, the law allows us to do this. The law allows us to do that. It doesn't allow us to do this, doesn't allow us to do that. Yeah.
But then again, they work with the same law prosecuting the person.
Well, yeah.
But they don't meet that standard of it has to be beyond reasonable doubt. That's it. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to prove exactly what time, when, how, when. Just the story needs to be told by an affidavit there and a piece of evidence there. But Stephen Avery, they let him meet much higher standards. That's what I got the feel out of this one.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it would be fair to say that there are two options for Kathleen. One is to present the Swiderski as a 97406 to the circuit court, and one would hope that it wouldn't be Sukovich, but there's no guarantee that if you had anybody else that they would be any less biased, is there,
And then they're going to say, yeah, well, there's no proof of a call that this man actually called then. And, that's what I'm going to say, what I'm afraid of right now, that it's not backed up with enough evidence. But
yeah,
maybe Kathleen has more than, she does, I think, have more.
Yeah. Or I suppose the other option would be to go further up the food chain and appeal to the Supreme Court. But I don't think that's what she would be doing just yet, because then you're sort of not even going through the procedure of looking at the Thomas Sawinski situation, are you?
No, exactly.
No, yeah.
You go higher up with the Court of Appeals decision, I guess. Yeah. Possible that you might do that.
I mean,
what about one question for you? What did you think of that part that they were referring to the 2013 appeal that Stephen did, and he had no knowledge, and all the things he must have known back then, How is that justice?
Yeah,
but you have no presentation. You should have known about the bones. That's what they said about it.
Yeah. And he should have known about getting the experts in even as way back as the initial trial and all that kind of stuff. And it's funny because when I watched Making a Murderer the first time, and we're seeing all this evidence developed. Like for example, I remember this whole idea that the body was cremated in the burn pit, and I'm thinking, nah, you don't end up with bones to that degree from just burning them in a bonfire, And I was kind of waiting naively for experts to come in and to actually talk about what's going on, things like the squiggle by the ignition. I was waiting for an expert to come in and say, no, that wasn't done by somebody's finger as they're turning a key. You can clearly see a swipe that way and a swipe that way.
Yeah,
that's just ludicrous. So
I think that's an after swabbing picture, because the before one, any blood spatter expert would say like, nah, that's not how it got there. That's just a drip, not a swipe.
Yeah. And I mean, they don't address at all the issue of the fact that that the blood, Steve's blood, is only in selective places.
Yeah.
But they're saying that their job is not to look at that. Basically, I got the impression that they're saying that their job is to just go along with the with Angela Sukovich, and you need all of these. You really do need to have spell it out to them exactly why this is all material. And there was a comment about the fact that if there was an evidentiary hearing and the tape recording of that conversation between Steve, Scott, and Barb, where they say that she left, that couldn't be used because it was hearsay. And you think, hold on a sec. It's you're dealing with something quite important here, which is the fact that Stephen Avery was convicted based on a testimony that Bobby said that she her car was there when he left, when in actual fact that's not what he saw at all. He said initially it couldn't have been Steve. I saw her leave.
Yeah.
So you think, hold on a sec, what on earth is going on here? But well,
I kind of hope that because an affidavit, how is that different from an affidavit? If Bob would have come in to have a written affidavit saying, yeah, that's actually what I said, and that's also what was said back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, maybe that's one of the things that, that's a good point, that it, she really does need to go back at this, and
Yeah, get the dots on the I, maybe.
yeah, dot the I's, cross the T's, and really
But it's
spell it
surprising
out.
to me that it's necessary in the first place. I keep on saying it. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think we were all quite excited that we were getting a decision. It's
yeah,
always, as you say, it's always exciting to get a decision. It wasn't the decision that we like. We just have to accept it, I suppose, at the moment. And go by the fact that Kathleen Zellner has said that she's not deterred at all.
that's good.
Well, I don't think she's going to give up on this one. When you know that you're in the right about something, you don't give up on it, do you?
No,
She's not going to do that.
I'm very curious to know if there's cases where it's well known that the burden of proof put on the defendant right now meets much other standards than the burden of proof from the state. Well,
Yes.
actually, what I mean, if there's cases known where there's these double standards, she can refer to that one and say like, oh yeah, well,
Yeah,
not how it
because
goes.
she's completely destroyed the state's case, to the extent whereby, as I say, the Court of Appeals today even said, well, you haven't proven that it couldn't have been Stephen Avery that bludgeoned her to death at the back of the RAV4, and it's like, hold on a sec, so you're changing the whole story of this,
Yeah,
and it does seem bizarre, as you say, that you've got she's completely blown the state's case story apart, and yet she has to come up with this absolutely watertight, to the nth degree, explaining to them.
yeah.
Let's just run through one or two of the comments here that we've got on the side. I don't know. Have you got the comments on your side? Can you see them?
Yes, I feel you.
If you can see them, okay. So, hi gents. What a joke. When will it end? Well, unfortunately, not just yet. What have we got? Complete crap, yeah, and so sad. Obviously for Steve, the injustice continues. When will it end? Continue prayers for Steve.
Yeah,
Stay strong. SA needs us more than ever. God bless him. Obviously, as you say, yeah, Mary, Ken Kratz, a lot to answer for, and at the moment, the appeals court are not holding him accountable for what he's done, for what a mess he's caused. And Gabriel from Ireland, welcome. Yeah, why is it up to Katherine Zellner to find the killer? Because unfortunately, it seems like these judges in Wisconsin, they are so obsessed with the idea that that they can come up with any excuse under the sun, and that
yeah,
until you actually show them. I mean, isn't it bizarre in Making a Murder Series 2? Kathleen Zellner even says, even if I had a video of somebody confessing to it, there would still be people who would not accept that.
yeah. It's
You know,
additive.
a video of an admission would not be enough, and fair enough. Okay,
Because yeah, it might be a deep fake video. We can't check it.
yes, yeah, So yeah, okay, so
Yeah,
as Katherine Zellner said, she's just going to go back, and as you say, she's probably already got loads more evidence that she's not sharing with the public at the moment. But it'll be interesting to see how she what her next move is.
exactly. Yeah,
And if she has fallen short of what's required, she strikes me again as somebody who, as she said, it pointed out specific doors are still open. We appreciate the careful review. It's, could it be that it's saying no at the moment, but, come back to us with something, which is a bit more that we can sell to the guilters within the Wisconsin legal system.
That's what it sounds like, yeah. Meet that standard. Yeah.
Yeah. Gabriel asks, what is the main reason for denying?
Yeah,
simply because they're agreeing with Angela Sukovich that things were, as you say, that there are things that were procedurally barred. Well, I'll let you sum up what you think was the.
Yeah, that's the main one. The procedurally barred one was a big one. So, and also the Brady violations that are summed up, they weren't proven beyond reasonable doubt. So what they did is laid a big burden of proof to dot some I's.
Yeah, I mean, they even addressed the subject of the Denny, Bobby Dassey and Denny, and I didn't quite agree with what they said there. They said that even if that had been presented at at a pre-hearing, it wouldn't have affected anything. And I'm thinking, what?
Yeah. Imagine that when the jury hears that. It's born on the yeah, and okay. And also they were like the schedule of Bobby Dassey when he was home, when he was on the seat on the computer.
Yeah.
How do they deny that he was home alone? It can be proven. So,
I mean, the one thing about the some of that stuff on the computer, which is interesting, is that it was stuff that was searched after Teresa disappeared.
Yeah,
and maybe, I throw this out as a precautionary. Maybe he knows that something happened to her. Maybe he was thinking, well, there might be a video out there of what happened to her that I can see, because Wiegert and Fassbender, they at one point are convinced, and they're telling Brendan, asking Brendan, did you video what you did with her? Were the other family members in on it and all this kind of stuff,
Yeah.
So, well, not happening in the UK. This, well, yeah, I think if all of this evidence that Kathleen Zellner has come up with, and that I suppose is the biggest take on this, that the Court of Appeals at the moment are saying, it's not really evidence that you've presented, when we're thinking it's better evidence. It's if you can poke little holes in it, fine. But do the same now with the state's narrative. And see where you get. Exactly. Not happening in the UK. Yeah, I think if all this evidence was presented anywhere in the UK, then it would be a completely different outcome.
Why is there zero information about the bones in the quarry in the trials? Why is that all left out?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it's. Just have to wait and see. As you say, it's going to be interesting, some of the responses, further responses from some of the other people involved in this case.
Also it'll be in the community, so it's also interesting.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder what the guy would do. May he rest in peace. I think you're on about the dude, the dude guy. Well, he would certainly... he would be cautious but optimistic. Cautious that disappointed that on this occasion the Court of Appeals has reaffirmed Sukovich's denials. But there was. Someone help me out. What's happened? What's the newest update? Court of Appeals have affirmed Sukovich's denials. So at the moment, we're not getting an evidentiary hearing, but they did say, and this is the main thing, that as Kathleen Zellner tweeted, there are doors open for Steve's quest for freedom. We appreciate the careful review. We are not deterred by the appellate court decision, not to grant an evidentiary hearing. So basically, telling Kathleen Zellner, go back, maybe it is a case of just, sorry?
She knows these processes take a long time, on average, much longer than she's into right now, So she's probably had this done to her much time before, so.
Yeah, I use this analogy a lot, that the great composer for piano was Frederick Chopin. And he is often described as somebody who, with the pieces that he wrote and composed, he was always tinkering with, always changing, adding, trying to make it better. So maybe from this initial motion that Kathleen Zellner has presented, she'll get some ideas as to what she needs to do to really speak to the judges, so that they can't come back with all this. You haven't presented anything of real evidentiary value, and the stuff that you have done, you're procedurally barred, and really overcome those little hurdles and come up with something that they can, they simply cannot ignore.
Yeah, that's what you have to do, man.
Yeah. Okay. Listen, I'm gonna say cheerio, and I've had a few people say, that they would be around later on for a chat. I don't know if I'll be able to do that, but certainly if we're having a chat later on, or say tomorrow. Gabriel, yes, go back again to the lower court, but this time with a 97406 to do with the Thomas Sawinski's identification of Bobby, which, as you say, Drew, is that one of the things they're likely to say is the fact that we have no record of this, and it wasn't the guy didn't phone into Manitowoc County Sheriff's Department and talk about this, and he wasn't told that the
the grey bearded guy may already been identified.
Yes,
we don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
for me, I think that's the one that they're going to have to, that Kathleen Zellner is going to focus on. But who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. As I say, if we are doing something again later on, then let's see if we can get something done, or possibly later on in the week. Okay. So anyway, Joriz, enjoy a beer, even though it's not as sweet tasting as we would have liked. But
yeah.
look, if it was easy, everybody would do it, and there's a reason why there's only one Kathleen Zellner, isn't there?
Exactly, and we have to stay positive, because something happened in the case, which is also a step forward, even though it's not the step that we wanted. So
yes, it's just part of a process. It's part of a road that you're going along. Sometimes it gets a bit bumpy, Yeah,
and we as the public wanted even faster than ever, but that's not how it works. So
unfortunately, no. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll just keep on talking about it.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, we're definitely going to stop. Yeah, we're right onto it. Don't worry about that. Okay. cheers then, Joriz, and we'll catch you soon.
All right.
Bye for now.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.